Hey guys, and welcome back. I'm Tyler, and this is my tabletop. Today we are working on A Billion Suns again. We are building some Space Krakens. Now, these are objective vessels, I guess, that are basically they attack you, you attack them, you're trying to kill them. I am making them look like squid. The rules say that they can be whatever you want. Obviously, it's a billion suns, but they have tentacles and mouth parts is the name of their weapons. And so I am going to make vaguely, well, not vaguely, they look a lot like squid or fish, something like that. So what I showed you is I have these oblong beads that I'm using as the core. And then I have two kinds of wire. I have thick, long wire, which is for the two main tentacles. You know how squid have 8 small tentacles, and then they have the 2 really long ones, or 8 arms and 2 tentacles. I'm doing something similar. I have these hairs these hair, like the backs that I showed you, that come from uh, Age of Sigmar Flesh Eater Court's Horrors, I think, something like that. And then I have a bunch of arms spikes from Age of Sigmar Sylvaneth. Um, so I'm going to start off trying clay. I wound up not going with clay, spoiler alert, but I'm going to show you guys my attempt just so that you can see and maybe you can see something I did wrong. My clay started drying out a little bit and falling off of the frames, basically. And I got frustrated, and so I switched, which you will see later. So I'm going to speed things up, and we'll go into what's going on. Okay, so I'm just drawing this so that you guys can get a general idea of what I'm thinking. I just ran away because I wanted to get seed beads to use for the eyes. But yeah, so there's going to be a fin down on one end, and then there's going to be a fin along the top, and then fins on the sides, well, spikes on the sides. Um, that's basically the general shape. I had that in my head, but I wanted to be able to show you guys what we were planning. Um, so I'm gonna really speed through this first part because I wound up not using the clay. Okay, so yeah, I fiddle with the clay for a little bit. I think the problem is that it wasn't wet enough, or maybe my clay is just dried out a little bit, like in general. Um, the other thing I was going to do is I was going to use the wire, which the thick wire is like 16 gauge, and then the thin wire is 26 gauge floral wire, very thin stuff. I was going to cover those in clay and use them to like shape it, but switching to my plan B, which I will, which it wound up being hot glue. Using hot glue on low heat as because it holds better and it dries way faster and everything's about being fast with me. Um, yeah, uh, the the tentacle was where I gave up. I had a lot of trouble with it. It just was not really doing what I wanted it to do. I am 100% sure that if you wanted to make these kind of things, you could absolutely use clay. I know it would work. Um, you might be better off using a two-part epoxy like green stuff, milliput, that type of thing. This is cheap air dry clay, which is probably why I'm having trouble with it. I mostly use it for terrain. Anyway, here's where I gave up, paused, and went and got my hot glue gun and showing you that it's on low. So we're going to go just at our normal 2x speed through the first one as I kind of fiddle with it, and you guys see how things are going. I still had trouble with the... So I actually... I started off putting the tentacles out too wide. Like, I didn't look up a reference picture or anything, but from what I can remember, squid's tentacles, the two long ones, come from within the bunch of arms. So the arms need to be on the outside, and these were sitting too wide. You can see I pulled a lighter. It's just to help with the stringing. Just light it up quick and the strings go away. That is the downside to using hot glue. Also, you can see that I overdid it on the hot glue around the around that tentacle, and so its hot glue remelted and started falling apart. And then I remembered, somewhere along the way, I remembered that I have a cup of cold water that's sitting there from when I was messing with the clay. But basically what we're going to do is we are building up the hot glue in as best a shape we can. Like, I'm trying to make a squid shape. Squid-ish shape. With, I guess, more fins. So it's kind of a cross between a squid and a fish. But I do apologize. There's going to be quite a bit where my hands are off camera. That's because my workbench, where I'm, well, not my workbench, my computer table, which is where I do this, where I do these build videos, is right at the far reach of the hot glue gun without an extension cord, and I didn't feel like getting an extension cord. So I totally forgot. Because I didn't do that, I have to pull the part off camera to actually put glue on it. So I apologize for that. And that is the only time I got the tail to work raw without a support. I wound up having to put a piece of plastic in all of the other tails because I just couldn't get it to work. Somewhere along the way, I burned the hell out of my... Well, I didn't burn the hell out of my hand, but I hit my knuckle on the hot end of the hot glue gun and managed to lose a piece. I had to do some adjustments for. Generally, you just you're layering on the hot glue to build the body while also gluing on the pieces. Like, so you glue on a piece, let the hot glue dry a little bit, then layer on more, and then let the hot glue dry a little bit. This first one was very much a practice run. Then I went ahead and did the other 4. Now, for A Billion Suns, you need scale number of Krakens, so up to 10. My brother, who I play with, we agreed that anytime any of the objectives that we need scale number of, he'll build 5 and I'll build 5. So these are the 5 Krakens that I need to build. You can see that it still has the 2 pieces. I just don't remember when I managed to lose it. So I pretty much do everything else, and then I put the little thin wires on for the arms. And now, because I'm not using clay, I'm not trying to cover those in hot glue. They're going to be bare, which it'll be fine. Yeah, you can see that I started off putting them like inside the tentacles, and then I kind of changed my mind and I realized that they should go the other way. It's a learning process. And clip off some of the hot glue that was holding them in, and I'm going to shift the tentacles in. Now I know I drew a beak, but I didn't put beaks on these. Their mouths are covered by skin or something like that. Alright, on to 4 times acceleration because it took me longer to build the first one than I remember. You can see that the tentacle is now closer to dead center, or not really center. It's closer to the center of the face. Yeah. And you see my head because I'm looking for the second tail fin. I have no idea where it wound up. I wound up taking a spare from the pile. And there we go. Yes, the arms still stick out at weird angles, but honestly, the hot glue doesn't hold exceptionally well. So what I do is off camera after I finished, I went around and I just put a good lathering of super glue on each joint. Basically everywhere where the plastic connects to the hot glue and where the metal of the wires and all of that stuff. Everywhere that they meet gets some super glue. That way the hot glue is more like a socket instead of being the actual glue that's holding it in. It'll hold better. Then I'll go in and I'll adjust the bend of the wires and whatnot, and then I'll paint them. as I record this, they haven't been painted yet. And you'll get that in, well, you probably won't get that in a later vid. What I'll do is I'll just take some pictures and put them on my Instagram page. So we're now in the mass production phase. I am cutting out pieces to produce the other 4 more or less all at once. I also I changed the order that I went in a little bit. I found that on the first one I wound up using the back fin as a handle a lot. So I started with those so that I could, actually hold the damn thing. Okay. Once again, sorry, the thing is off camera, which is part of why we're doing this at such high time acceleration, because you guys can't see it anyway. Okay, this is ridiculous. I'm going to speed this up even further. Okay, 8 times acceleration. I apologize for being off camera so much. I wasn't paying a whole lot of attention, and the hot glue gun being on a short leash kind of threw off my centering. So we have up to ludicrous speed, and we're gonna fly through these 4. Don't worry, I've got a nice slow picture still shot at the end for scale so that you guys can see it next to a ship where I'll take time and you guys can actually see them. And slow right down so you guys can get an idea of what they look like. And back to speed. This is honestly, when you're doing this kind of quasi freeform, honestly, when you're doing any kind of modeling, this is probably the best way to do it, is you do a test piece, figure out how you want to do stuff, and then you assembly line the rest. That is by far the best way to do it in my experience. Usually I do the same thing with painting unless it's a one-off or I'm really comfortable with the way that it's getting painted. But no, definitely I strongly suggest build one, get yourself squared away, and then build the rest. And we are wrapping up. Only got one empty body left. I will warn you that in addition to this amateur hour of me not freaking doing it under the camera, part of the video of me assembling the last one didn't get recorded properly, so uh, it's going to cut off. Partially, partway through it. It won't be completely finished. But we are foregoing a turntable shot for a still because they're not painted and the turntable is currently put away. And so I want to wait until I've got enough stuff to do a couple of turntables all at once because I'm lazy. And split. Okay. So this is what they look like unpainted next to my gunship for scale. So they're quite big. Their mass and silhouette all change based on the scale, so I think they're going to look cool. Stay tuned to my Instagram to see them fully painted. Thank you for watching. If you like it, please like, share, and subscribe. I truly, truly appreciate you guys so much. Thanks for watching. I'm Tyler, and this has been my Tabletop.